I'm Josh Bivens. I'm the Director of Research and Policy at the Economic Policy Institute here in Washington, D.C. We worry a lot about income inequality and how economic policies affect not just overall averages, not just overall growth, but how they actually do or do not manage to raise the living standards of typical American households. So here at the beginning of 2016, we're 7 years essentially since the official recovery from the Great Recession began. And yet there's lots of concerns that that recovery is really incomplete and that for large parts of the globe, we might actually re-enter recession. The US is actually probably the healthiest economy on earth, at least among the bigger ones right now, and it's not that healthy, so that's actually really worrisome. You've got Japan and the European Union, which are both deeply struggling, really on the cusp of recession. And probably even more worrying is that some of the big emerging economies like China and Russia are now looking to be, if not an outright recession, see a really big slowdown in growth. That's really worrisome because they have much less capacity, especially countries like Brazil, to actually do the fiscal stimulus that could drag the global economy to some health. It's really incumbent upon those countries that have the capacity to do more stimulus. The United States, the big European countries like Germany, Japan, really need to be doing that, not just because their own domestic economies are far from healthy, but also because there's this coordination problem of if people don't all try to reflate together, we're all going to go down the drain together. You've seen a lot of money leave China and leave the European Union. It goes into the United States. That makes our dollar stronger. People think a stronger dollar good. Not so much. A stronger dollar makes U.S. exports really expensive on global markets, and so we get that drag on growth from our export sector. Really, when you're talking about jobs, you're talking about just a further drag on a U.S. manufacturing sector that really has never recovered from what was a really steep recession in 2001. I mean, we lost 3 million manufacturing jobs in the 2001 recession. Then because trade deficits ballooned in the ensuing recovery, we never got those jobs back. And then we lost another 3 million when the recession hit in 2008, and we've only clawed back, about less than a fifth of those jobs. And so we've got a sector that's already been really battered over the past decade and a half, and a stronger dollar just makes recovery there that much harder. The first thing the United States needs to do, just in terms of its own domestic economy, is to lock down a genuine full recovery. The quickest way to do that would be with a bout of fiscal stimulus. Both Democratic candidates have put forward plans that would substantially increase infrastructure investment. Bernie Sanders' plan is quite a bit larger than Hillary Clinton's. In my mind, a larger plan is better. That's how much of the long-term need we have. But the Hillary Clinton plan is really respectable as an increase over sort of the baseline. The Republican plans, on the other hand, are kind of a continuation of what we've seen for the past 10 years, which is they think all problems can be solved with tax cuts. I mean, if you take their plans seriously as to what a tax cut of that size would mean, whether you're talking about the Cruz or the Trump tax cut, you're talking about a real significant decline in spending, which will just further drag on growth. And so the difference between Democrats and Republicans as groups are just night and day. Within the Democrats, who are both taking a sensible stance, the Sanders plan is much more ambitious. And given that I think that the weakness we have in the U.S. economy today could really be a chronic thing that is with us for years to come, it's not just a one-time jolt of stimulus that's needed, I'm happier with a plan that goes over-ambitious. So for people who are interested in hearing more about this, you should come to our website. It's www.epi.org.